My teaching style is to try to have as minimal lecture as possible, less me talking, more them doing. So my tables are always in a U shape so that it's more conversation-based. I try to get them out of their seats as much as possible. I try to kind of wander around the room to help students as needed, but really my goal is just for them to be doing the math and not me talking about the math. Big push that I have is to really understand the why of the math, not just kind of giving them the rules and expecting them to kind of plug and chug. If they understand why we're doing these steps instead of simply saying my teacher told me to do them, the hope is that they'll be able to make deeper connections and go deeper into the next level of the math. So one of the methods that I use in my teaching is having my students really explore the math by trial and error and figure out how to solve. And then the hope is by the end of the lesson, they see that there is a quicker method. It's not necessarily the correct method, but there are quicker methods out there. And just trying to help them see and make the connections as to why we do the steps that we do. So it's all about learning from your mistakes. And I encourage mistake making in class because that's how we learn. If you're not making mistakes, you're not learning because you already know everything. So we want to encourage making mistakes because that's how you really remember where you went wrong, and you hopefully won't make the mistake again because you've learned from your mistakes. Seems to be a lot of pressure to understand the math before you even get to the classroom. That if they need to try a couple times to get it right, then that marks them as a failure, which is not true at all. That is the process of learning. If you're getting it on your first try, then you're not really learning because you already knew it. So the hope is to get my students to understand that it's going to get messy before we get to the final product, but that's how you learn. I've been trying really hard recently to talk through what's going on in my head in front of my students so that they can see my process. It can get messy, and hopefully that helps them see that it's okay to have a messy process to get to the final learning.